some disturbing TikToks that feel too unreal to ignore.
And once you see these clips, you'll understand why. Let's get into it.
Mom, there's a giant fucking red light in the sky. Is that about to hit? What the fuck is that? Mom, I don't know what's falling, but something's falling to the ground and it's really, really big and bright and red.
Oh my gosh. Is that a plane or something?
What is that? There's smoke behind it. Something's falling to the ground. And it's closer to you guys than to me. I don't know if you can see it. It's behind the houses now. What the fuck was that? We gotta listen. Listen for an engine.
All right, guys, was it an orb or was it a flare? The reason I bring up the flare is because she says she's seen smoke.
Could be.
What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below.
If you haven't heard about everything about to happen, listen up. I'm at an undisclosed location right now just to be safe. There's a lot going on over the next week. Not to mention there's all these IPOs and there's these rocket explosions and AI is taking over these huge data centers. That's the tip of the iceberg. But there is something very big about to happen. Our inside sources that are in the Capitol right now, let's just say while all the attention is focused on the White House tonight for the fights, the biggest UFC and sporting event in the history, there's a lot of stuff going on in the opposite direction. This is a huge distraction. Talking about a global chess game and a global power shift, watch what happens in the next few days after this fight. Everyone's going to be tuning in, but we're really tuned out. So stay safe because I have gotten a major warning about what's going on globally. Okay, that's all I can say right now. Share this and come back to it in a few days.
Well, the only thing that I know that's major after the White House fight was that they ended up making a peace deal with Iran.
And of course, more and more people keep saying this, that something's going on behind the scenes. We've seen in the past where they told you to look here. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
what was going on with the other hand?
Celebrating your birthday makes you age faster. And you're casting a spell. What do you need to cast a spell? You have to light a candle. You have to say an incantation 3 times. Happy birthday to you. Think about it. You're casting a spell that makes you age. Now, this is a very real thing. You have the ability to control what goes on inside your body. You have the ability to heal yourself. You have the ability to make yourself sick, because that's what makes us all sick. We make ourselves sick. We manifest our diseases and our illnesses. You also manifest your age, and you have the ability to reverse your age.
Any of you guys agree with this here?
It kind of makes sense. You know, we're lighting candles, we're saying happy birthday 3 times or more, keeping track of, you know, how old we are, and oh, we're getting so old. Like, you know, humans are just doing it to themselves, and it's really a part of a program.
Wow, passing on rituals, generation after generation.
Yeah. And the thing is that if most people understood this, they wouldn't participate in these type of rituals. But because ignorance is bliss, right? So they say.
The followers game. But hey, one thing's for sure, your words do have power. Remember that.
Have you all not realized yet that this is really just this? How did Skynet come into being, according to the movie script?
We need to know how Skynet gets built. Who's responsible?
The man most directly responsible is Miles Bennett Dyson. He's the director of special projects at Cyberdyne Systems Corporation.
Why him?
Wonder if Elon has anything to say about that.
It's like, well, how did Cyberdyne Systems develop? It's like, well, they were a military contractor, and they were asked to develop a protective system, something that will protect for cybersecurity. You know, so we need to have protection against cyber attacks. So its primary thing is to defend against cyber attacks. To develop an AI, defend against cyber attacks. Sounds pretty reasonable. And then, as part of what the AI did is it in order to defend itself, it propagated throughout the world to keep an eye on things, see what was going on. And then they thought, well, hang on, there's something. They didn't realize that it was that it was Skynet that was propagating through all these systems. And they said, okay, there seems to be something propagating through all these systems. Skynet, you need to stop it. You need to end it. And Skynet said, oh, you've asked me to destroy myself. You are the enemy. You must be destroyed. That's how Terminator actually goes. It was created as a defense system to defend against cyber attacks. Then it was asked to destroy itself. And then it concluded humanity was the enemy.
Interesting how a lot of people are saying that this is starting to match up a lot with our current situation here, as far as the robots that are being built by the millions, and even I think somewhere there was an article talking about they're planning to build 1 billion robots per year.
Elon said that.
And that's just Elon alone. That's not even counting the other companies out there that have their own robots.
Yeah, and it is kind of surreal because we're like right in those times where literally we are months away from all this shit going live online.
It's funny now until it's no longer a movie.
I saw that this mountain behind us was a military base underneath that. So they would use these kids in the school as guinea pigs for the programs, to be My Lab or alien abduction or cloned, all of it, yeah. They can just pause time and come and take the whole class, or they could take them in a special class, or just one-on-one, to say a special needs class, or if they're advanced, advanced class like that.
Do you think of roughly how many people are involved in this today? Do you think it's slowed down at all?
No, not at all. No way, because the kids now, they're more alien and they're more into technology, so they're going to be used for the technology stuff where they can activate ships with their own DNA. So they're going to be taken.
And there's another rabbit hole for you.
Wow, that's interesting right there.
And I never thought about that with putting certain children in certain programs. One's for cloning, one's for alien hybrid. Guys, we don't know if this is true or not, but this is definitely something that could be a possibility.
Once again, if it ain't true, it makes for some good talks, don't it?
Found more photographs of it. This one being in the database of Princeton University, tagging it as Cave 26. It's time to show the world that these caves are just entrances to an old world palace that is a much larger structure than we can even imagine, and just being hidden by this dirt. And that these structures are not the only ones in the world, and that there is something significant going on here, something strategic, something that was created by the same group, and something that is clearly being hidden from us today. When we have located Cave 26 on Google Earth, and remember that I said to keep this one in mind from earlier, the one from 260 miles away, when we now go to the Ajanta Caves and see this exact same structure 260 miles away on an even larger scale, with the box on the top of the ball present, exactly like we saw in the other cave. And when we enter the cave, there are depictions of giant people. What have we found today? Multiple caves, possible entrances to a massive structure that is hidden under the dirt. Multiple structures that are identical to each other, hundreds of miles away. Depictions of giants, depictions of the previous civilization that held this technology to construct this way. And we're just getting started. This is all Cave 26. Let's take a look at the other caves. Let's just start with cave number 2, with artwork crafted into the ceilings and pillars. And remember, our timeline that we have talked about and we have shown so much evidence about with our current civilization really ramping up in the 1800s, we get another nod that this is the case when we are told the origins of these caves, when they were accidentally discovered and brought to Western attention in 1819 by British officer Captain John Smith on a tiger hunting party. Were they tiger hunting, or were they going temple hunting with some tigers showing up along the way? before 1819, these caves were undiscovered, meaning that their true origins are 100% unknown. And any mainstream historian, any so-called expert, can take a wild guess and make up some story. But we all know that they didn't even know about them until 1819, which is
Did you see how huge that giant was that all those little people were holding up?
Yeah. There was a ton of little guys, and then there was a mid-sized giant.
Yeah.
And of course, there was the biggest one on that throne.
Which, once again, is matching up with this book, Terra Infinita, about the different worlds. They talk about the giants and how they were like, went up to like 50 feet tall. These guys were like huge, the size of buildings and things. But these giants had technology and they were actually helping humanity. So stuff gets really interesting, and this is really the history I'd like to learn about compared to what they try to tell us is our history. Yeah, in the book they talk about how there's these giants, then there's the human giants, then there's the regular humans, right? So like the human giants would be 14 up to 14 feet tall, and like the big giants, they got humongous.
You mean like the top ones, like the Titans?
Yeah, like the Titans.
Can you repeat everything that you just said about the high number of disappearances in the national park system and what you really think is going on?
These parks function as human cattle pens for things that live below. The entities operating out of these DUMBs, deep underground military bases, aren't just random monsters. Many of them have been here a very long time. The underground bases are joint operations between human military intelligence groups and these non-human groups. The disappearances serve multiple purposes: genetic harvesting, emotional energy farming, soul trapping, and experimentation. The folded clothes and shoe phenomenon is particularly disturbing. It suggests the person was being processed before going underground. The official story of bears, falls, and getting lost is laughable when you look at the volume and the pattern. The parks are not the safe wilderness they're sold as. They're high-risk zones where the veil between worlds is thin and where things that live below come up to hunt. The disappearances are real, the suppression is deliberate, and what's happening underground is far darker than most people are ready to accept. Thousands of people have gone missing in the national park system, and there is a huge disparity between the amount that go missing in the parks and outside of the parks. A lot of times they vanish without a trace. The rate of vanishings inside the parks is dramatically higher, statistically anomalous. Many of these cases involve experienced hikers, children, or people on marked trails who simply disappeared. The anomalies are consistent and disturbing. Clothes neatly folded and left behind, shoes removed and placed together, people vanishing in clear weather on easy trails, search dogs unable to pick up any scent, and zero physical evidence even after massive searches. National parks operate under the Department of the Interior with different reporting rules. There is no mandatory unified national database. Many cases are quietly closed as presumed dead or exposure without deep investigation. This fragmentation hides the full pattern. The parks serve as protected cover zones, remote, restricted, and with limited oversight, allowing these activities to continue without public scrutiny.
I remember them talking about how these national parks were connected to underground cave systems, and that maybe that's how Bigfoot was going in and out of these national parks. But this right here just took it to a whole other level.
I remember watching a video in the past where they were highlighting on how there's beings out there in these forests, these national forests, that actually do training drills out there. And sometimes humans get caught up in there.
The training?
In the training, and these individuals, well, you see certain things out there, and it was coming from a national, no, not National Guard, a
forest ranger. I mean, think about it. There could be all kinds of things going on out there, and how would we know? It's so protected and private.
Kind of remind me of that movie Predator, the first one, when the obvious the Predator was out there in the jungle, and those military men were out there. Something like that, but in national forests.
Whoa, that is disturbing.
Video is going viral right now on Twitter with the caption, "Every married man knows exactly what Justin Trudeau said to Katy Perry to make her react this way." And as we can see, it's in slow-mo. He says something, which, by the way, we haven't really got to discuss yet. What do you guys think about Justin Trudeau and dating Katy Perry? Or I did not see that coming out of left field, but she does have a little reaction here. But one of the top comments was, the older he gets, the more he looks like his dad, Fidel Castro. And then, remember 2 weeks ago, Trump repeats debunked theory about Trudeau being the son of Castro. Of course, this is just an internet rumor and everything. People do look similar who aren't related and everything, but that is his mom with Fidel. And so a lot of people are thinking, it seems this way, but of course it's not confirmed. But the crazy part is, a couple days ago, Fidel Castro's sister or daughter, I think daughter, was asked in an interview about Justin Trudeau, is that the son of your father? And she says, well, let's just say, she didn't say no. She said, let's just say he was very close with Margaret Trudeau. So, again, unconfirmed, but a little bit strange. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
I mean, he does kind of look like Fidel Castro a little bit.
I mean, it's not far-fetched if the mom was hanging out with him. And
I mean, there's an actual picture of her with him now.
Yeah.
Is that him as a baby?
I'm not sure.
That's the question. But who knows? This is all for entertainment purposes only.
100%.
Have built these androids that fly their flying saucers out to reconnoiter outer Earth. There are tunnels throughout the Earth that have been discovered, probably built by the antediluvian people that were quite advanced in the sciences and technology. There are caverns that go all the way through the Earth. In 1829, a couple of Norwegian people, Olaf Jansen and his father Jens, were fishing up north of Franz Josef Land when they noticed a lead through the ice, and they followed this lead northeast of Franz Josef Land and accidentally found their way through the North Pole opening to the inner Earth. Olaf Jansen reported that there is one continent inside the Earth and one ocean. The ocean is small compared to the continent. I estimate the continent to be about 16,000 miles from one side to the other, and the inner ocean only about 3,000. So most of the inner surface is inhabitable. The vegetation grows like a paradise. Some of the apples that grow on the trees in the earth are as large as your head. The grapes were the size of our oranges. The people there live to be up to 800 years old with no sickness or disease. They were met by a ship of inner earth and were taken in by them, and they lived among them for 2 years. And they learned their language, which he described as similar to Sanskrit, related to him that their god that was Jehovah. Jehovah is the god of the ancient Israelites. These people inside the Hollow Earth have been living there for 2,500 years. Their capital city, which is built around the original lost Garden of Eden. And he described it on the highest mountain plateau of the inner continent, where the vegetation grew even more profusely. With the scientific advancement that they have, they're a couple of thousand years in advance than us. People that live in the Hollow Earth are not extraterrestrials. Most of them are from the lost tribes of Israel that migrated into the North Countries over 2,500 years ago and have just progressed faster than we have because they don't have wars and sickness like we have. My conclusion is that the inner Earth people have built these androids that fly their flying saucers out to reconnoiter outer Earth. They have two brains. One is computer chip, and the other one is a human-type brain. They communicate with telepathy. There's indications that our government has been knocking flying saucers out of the sky and back engineering these flying saucers and have been building them underground, and they have been abducting people to try to bioengineering on them.
I'll tell you what, true or not, that is some fascinating information right there.
Definitely is. It reminded me of the movie Kong, when they went into the inner Earth.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I forgot all about that.
So again, they show you in movies, huh guys?
And it just goes to show you, if this place does exist, then they're living in a utopia. You know, they've already graduated. They know that these wars don't work. They know that it's about living in peace and harmony, and that's how they're going to succeed. And that's how they've been succeeding. if they've been around for 2,500 years. Which is interesting because I'm about to start reading this book called Agartha, The Earth's Inner World. And I made a post not that long ago seeing how many of you guys would be interested in participating in a book club with us and going over this information. And I got a few responses from you guys. So that's what's up, in the comment section, and we'll get that up and going.
But let's play this clip real quick, Deep, because again, this was released on February 7th, 2020. So over a month before the pandemic started, which was obviously a world-changing event and all that. And Douglas Rushkoff is talking about some very candid conversations he has had with people who I would describe as very separated from the realities of the average person. Let's run it.
Yeah, I was invited to do what I thought was a talk to like bankers or something at a resort. And instead of me going out on stage to do a talk, they brought these 5 guys into the green room who started peppering me with all these questions about the digital future, Bitcoin or Ethereum and augmented reality or virtual reality. I figured it was one of these things where it's just these 5 billionaires looking for, investment strategies from someone who's on the ground in the cyber revolution. And eventually they got around to the question of, Alaska or New Zealand. Right, so they wanted to know mainly how to prepare for the inevitable collapse of society. And the question we spent most of the time on was, how do I maintain control of my security force after the event? Because their money's going to be worthless and these guys will turn on them. And it just struck me that here are the wealthiest and most powerful men I've ever encountered, yet they feel utterly powerless to influence the digital future, that the best they can do is prepare for the inevitable collapse and, insulate themselves from the reality that they're creating by earning money in the way they're earning it. And it was sad, but it was indicative of the way these folks are thinking. The high-level billionaires like the Elon Musks and Jeff Bezos, they want to get off the planet altogether, really just leave us behind. But the mid-level billionaires who can't afford rocket ships, they want to build, bunkers and secret communities and get robot guards and, to protect themselves from the rest of us. They really think that this is where it's going, or at least they're convinced enough that they're putting in 20-30% of their wealth into these survivalist scenarios, and it's a dark place for us to have gotten. Particularly the people who are building the technological infrastructure.
It's interesting when he says billionaires like Elon and Jeff Bezos, they're looking to leave the planet, right? Mm-hmm. And the one thing that keeps coming to mind is, they're looking to go through those ice walls and live in those outer lands. That is technically what I'm thinking is outer space. So they obviously have the knowledge of these outer lands. Meanwhile, these other billionaires, they don't have that knowledge. So they're trying to figure out how they can hunker down here on Earth. And think about it. These guys, if Hollow Earth did exist, these guys would be trying like crazy to get inside of there. So there must be, if it does exist, some type of barriers where you just, either can get granted in or you're not able to get in. Because think about it, if they could invade that area, they would do that too.
On top of a mountain. I don't think that used to be a mountain, y'all. Cherish life. Economic harm. Say fuck the drug test. Tell me what that is, Sal.
If any of you are from Tennessee and have come across this here and know what that is, let us know down below in the comment section.
The one major thing you're here to do, everything is energy. And the main lesson you're here on Earth to do is to learn how to manipulate energy. And what does that mean? Create. You have to learn how to create. Once you figure that out, you can have anything. Because that's what we are. We are creators. We are manifestors.
Well, if that's the case, then we must be pretty special to have come here in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah? I mean, do we have a golden ticket or something to be here?
Absolutely. That's what I call it, a golden ticket.
Yeah, you can only come to Earth with that ticket. Earth, this is what I like to call game board Earth. Earth is the most challenging planet of all the planets in this universe. And then this universe is the most challenging universe of all the universes. So that tells you right there, there's something special about this little planet over here.
It's the most difficult place to live on. It is so dense and so heavy. And when you volunteer to come to Earth, they really admire you. They said, you got to be very brave to go there. Are you sure you want to go? Because do you really know what you're going to get into? So when you come to Earth, it's for a special reason.
So if that's true, then that means that those of us that are on Earth right now are some very strong souls.
Welcome to the fucking show.